Hey friends, welcome to my craft channel, Heidi's Ensemble DIY. In today's episode, we are making some fall Dollar Tree crafts to get a jump start on the new season. All right, now let's get crafting. Head to the Dollar Tree and pick up 4 of these beaded wreath rings. These are so fabulous to work with. Start by taking the wreath and open up that clamped wire ending. On the first 2, we're going to remove 2 beads. And on the other 2, we're going to remove 3 beads. The reason why we're doing this is because if you try to bring these together in the shape or the form as a pumpkin, the beads are going to collide into each other and it's not going to sit very well. Once you've got those beads off, 2 on 2 of them and 3 on the other 2, go ahead and clamp them back closed again because we're going to bring them together into the form or the shape of a beaded pumpkin. Now these pumpkins at beautiful home decor stores, they are so expensive, it's ridiculous. I picked up each one of these wreath ring beaded forms from the Dollar Tree for $1.25 each, and with 4 of them we were going to get the exact same look and save so much money. Now we're going to take those 4 wreath rings and we are going to open up the beads at the top and the bottom so it's got that spacing in there so the wires can come together but not the beads colliding. Once you've got that all nice and situated in there and the beads aren't competing for the space, take 2 zip ties and zip tie them tightly into the placing that you want. Set it aside. At this point, I grabbed a log twig from outside on a tree we're about to cut down because it's just old and it's having some problems. I drilled 2 holes, one at the bottom and one through so that I can zip tie it onto the form, and I also can hot glue it in there so that everything holds together. And now I'm going to take one of these wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. I'm taking off the twine around the side. I took off the tag and now I'm going to add some hot glue. Take that wood round, we're going to take it and flip it upside down with that hot glue on, and we're going to press down until it dries. You can put something in there to make the weight of it press down even harder, and then you're going to flip it over, taking more hot glue and going in between all those crevices. And I'm going to use some of these larger jumbo clips from the Dollar Tree craft section to hold it in place while it dries and set it to the side. I'm going to now go back to that log that we cut from earlier with the holes we drilled. And you don't have to drill the holes, but I really like when my projects have a high-end finished look. It looks like it came from a store, that nothing is going to break off of it if somebody picks it up. So the zip tie is going to really lock it into place, because if you just hot glue it, in my opinion, I think it's going to come off. But if you're gentle with it and you don't have any little hands picking it up, it would be fine if you did hot glue. To complete the look, add some moss to disguise that zip tie and a candle for display. This project is going to cost me about $2 to make because we're going to use some of these stacking blocks and some of these tongue depressor sticks, these large jumbo ones. I'm going to link the ones I found online down below in my description box. And we're going to start by just simply cutting off the rounded edge on one of the sticks and then repeating that on a whole bunch of other sticks depending on how long you want your pumpkin to become. Then at the end, when you like the length of it, you're going to cut angles on those 2, and then the very last one, you're going to line the edges up on that last stick. You can see right here that it's the length of the shortest part of that angle, and then round the last of that stick so it has that rounded edge like a pumpkin. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and bring them all together because we're making a shiplap looking pumpkin. And I'm going to just use some hot glue and place little dots all around the sticks so that I can lay down the supportive stick. This is the back side of the pumpkin that we're building. Once I've got everything all nice and secure, I went ahead and flipped it over, and you can see now the front side looks nice and clean and it looks like shiplap. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take some of the stacking blocks, and again I'm going to match up with the length of the pumpkin. Once I get it to how long I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and use my staple gun and staple at the joints to make sure that this is really sturdy and strong. You don't have to do the staples, but I personally don't always trust hot glue because I feel like it can fall apart. But I don't personally always trust hot glue because I feel like it can fall apart. So then once I had the hot glue on, I'm going to put the staple side down against the pumpkin, and this is going to allow it to hide those staples, look really clean, like it came from a store. And then on the back side, I'm going to put the other supportive bottom piece so that this pumpkin can now stand up. This is so easy to make, and like I said, only costs about $2 with the supplies because I had tons of sticks left over, and I'm not even using all of these stacking blocks. Then I went ahead and gave it a pretty peachy orange color, and then I'm going to come back in and curve rounded brush strokes to create the roundness of a pumpkin, and this gives that depth perception that you would see on a pumpkin by curving out your lines. Then down at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and paint that white so that it has some contrast from the orange that we've got on the pumpkin. And I did paint the back side to make sure that it has a nice finished look. And then up at the top, I'm going to take one of these branch pieces that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just put some hot glue, place that right where I want it to be, and then I'm going to staple it on with my staple gun. Because again, I just feel like with hot glue, it can definitely still fall off. So now that I know that I got it on there nice and secure, I'm going to flip it around on the back side and give it a supportive hot glue ledge for it to be sitting on and holding and gripping onto the back side of the pumpkin so it doesn't fall off over time. Now at this point, I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to sketch on the word blessed. You can sketch on whatever you want. It could be your family's name, it could say thankful, it can say harvest, autumn, whatever you want it to say. This is the fun part about customizing this. I also forgot to mention that I did do a little bit of white dry brushing on the sides of the pumpkin to add a little more curvage and depth. Now at this point, I'm coming in with my thin brush head tip on my paintbrush, and I'm going to just take my time and create the thicker lines where I'm coming down and thinner lines where I'm coming back up. And this part is always so therapeutic for me. I just love hand painting. You could use your vinyl cutting machine if you have one, but remember, don't ever be afraid to use your hands and just practice with hand painting. Then once you've got that all painted on, I went ahead and added a bow up at the top because I thought that would be really cute. And then I'm going to add some Spanish moss down at the bottom to give it that farmhouse rustic look. And then it's ready to be displayed. This craft is going to turn out so beautiful. We're going to use one of these signs from the Dollar Tree and some of these red eucalyptus leaves. I'm going to start by popping off this wood piece at the top and then removing the twine. We're going to repurpose that, but first we're going to recover this sign. Take off all of the things that you can from it. I'm using a heat gun to remove the sticker from the back. Once that was all done, I went ahead and covered the front side with this gingham paper. It's scrapbook paper that was a burgundy red and white. And then on the back side, that's the side we're going to have actually now become the front side. I'm using my tape gun, and I'm going to just go ahead and put on this shiplap paper. And first I always like to kind of cut it down to size once I stick it on. This is the quickest way I like doing it versus tracing it, because sometimes tracing and cutting out does not get an accurate all the way to the edge look that you're going for. So I always like to glue it on, cut it down as close as I can, and then I sand it with a sanding block. So here I am now, it's all covered, and I'm going to add on some hot glue, bring back on that twine, and then that wood bar from before, I'm going to add some more hot glue after I cleaned it up from the original paper that was stuck to it. I'm going to go ahead and put that down, and I've got these little clips that I love, love, love from the Dollar Tree. I use these a lot in my craft room to hold things in place while they dry. And now I'm going to take that eucalyptus, I cut them down to the very bottom of the handle of the floral pick, and I'm going to just take them and twine and wind them all together until I get a really long line of this, and then I'm going to start turning and curving it into a small wreath. I love using these pick stems for making mini wreaths like this. It is the easiest thing ever. Now I'm going to use my big bite, my crocodile. This is the bigger version of the crocodile, and I like it because it gets a nice far in reach. I punched a couple holes, and I'm going to use red zip ties to zip tie this on to my sign. That is going to really hold it in place. So I did it on the sides and the top and the bottom, and the red camouflaged perfectly inside of this red eucalyptus floral. So once everything was zip tied into place, I went ahead and got some of my stickers from the Dollar Tree, put my monogram, my S in the middle, and then the last thing it needed was just a bow at the top because I love bows here on my channel. I went ahead and made a bow and just popped that right on the top, and it was ready to be displayed. This next project is so ridiculously easy, and it is so beautiful, especially when you put more than one out on a table, a bookshelf. Oh my word, it looks so beautiful and high-end. We're going to start with one of these tall cylinder glasses from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to turn it into a very elevated hurricane glass. Grab one of these candle stem glass holders, add on E6000 and hot glue for a long-term and short-term hold. Make sure it's right in the center. So I actually like to stand up whenever I do this part to stand over it to make sure it's really centered. And then I'm going to just flip it over. That hot glue is going to dry first, and it's going to let the E6000 lock it into place because it binds the glass together for a long-term hold. Now I'm going to take a bag from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut it down to the sizing I need. And then I'm going to use some washi tape to go around it because we're going to take this outside and spray paint the bottom of this hurricane glass we just designed. This is so high-end, I can't even tell you, friends. Pottery Barn and Ballard Home sell stuff like this all the time. It's so ridiculous how much they charge for these. I think it's usually like $50 for stuff like this, like depending on the size. This size was probably more like $35. And so far we've made it for $1.50, no, $2.50. We've made it for $2.50. So now I'm going to come in with a grass skirt raffia piece. I always like buying it as a grass skirt during the summertime because it makes raffia so easy to work with versus buying it in the big bag and it's all crazy. I'm just going to wrap that around, and we're going to give it a beautiful farmhouse country fall look. Now we're going to go ahead and take some popcorn kernels. I put those down in there first, then I insert the candle, make sure it's straight, and add a little bit more kernels without the candle slipping around. Go ahead and move around the seeds in there, and it looks so beautiful on a shelf. You've got to give this one a try. I hope you felt inspired by today's episode and these projects. I know it's a little early for fall, but it's just around the corner, and I always like to give my audience a head start on being able to try some of these ideas in your own craft rooms. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already and if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to click the subscribe button. And until the next episode, bye friends.